we have exclusive first images of the Orcs from Amazon's The Lord of the Rings of Power. Hello and welcome to The Broken Sword. Today we are looking over the exclusive images just released of the Orcs, and we'll have a little talk about them.
Build me an army worthy of Mordor.
So IGN have just released some exclusive first looks at the Orcs from the Rings of Power show. And well, I thought it would be fun to just jump on here for a quick couple of minutes, go over the images, see how they look, see if they're going in the right direction, and really see if maybe they're showing us something a bit more positive. But we didn't just get images, we got an article with it as well. This article starts talking about how we've already seen battalions of orcs and how they played such pivotal roles throughout the Lord of the Rings franchise. And the Lord of the Rings of Power intend to do much for the creatures themselves. Now they claim the orcs were all decimated nearly to the point of extinction in the War of Wrath, being the last battle in the Wars of Beleriand. And with so much time after this event, the orcs are so low in numbers. In fact, many people thought they had just gone extinct. They thought they were living in an orc-free Middle-earth. But no, they were hiding, they dug deep, and they were fighting for their survival. And this article even talks with the head of prosthetics, a Jamie Wilson, who talks about his work on the show, as well as a Lindsay Weber, who is one of the executive producers on the series. So we haven't got any words from the main showrunners yet, but we still got some people very high up on board. They both claim to have come from some lovingly nerdy backgrounds, as it says in the article, with Weber working in Star Trek and Mission Impossible franchises, and Wilson joins this project being called a Sevener, which basically means that he's worked on every single live-action Lord of the Rings project that exists. So in other words, he knows his orcs, as they say. Well, obviously this is all out there to make everyone feel more comfortable, but I will give you a couple of quotes nonetheless. They say how they love orcs, they love creature design, and they were so happy that the very first page of their Bible was about orcs. And now for those of you who don't really know what they mean by their Bible, no, not the actual Bible, but when you make a film, quite often in the production, before the script is even written, the people behind it will write a project Bible. Now this basically just includes all the details that you need to know about the world. Everything from the kind of creatures that inhabit it, what they look like, what the lands look like, how big it is. Basically everything that you can step back, look back at your Bible and go, well, does it fit into the world we created? So orcs are obviously a very important thing if that is the first part of it. They talk about how they have such high passion for the entire project as well, and they do say that the orcs that we see now will not be the same that we know from the Lord of the Rings. No, those ones have been in many battles, they are battle hardened, they are scarred, they have seen a lot, where these orcs have been hiding away for so long, so they're almost smoother, more baby-like without actually being babies, and really they're just a bit inexperienced, so do not expect to see the exact same that we've seen before, which, you know, could be good, could be bad. The images, which obviously in the video I'm showing on screen now and I will get to in a moment, I do like the initial look, so fingers crossed at this point it doesn't seem too bad. But now as we get further down the article, we get one big quote in larger text. There's some female orcs that I truly loved. Now, whether this whole idea of female orcs is being emphasized for a reason, or just because it's Amazon, I don't really know. Yes, Tolkien did admit himself in a famous letter to a Miss Mumby that there were in fact female orcs. So although he said they did indeed exist, really they didn't do anything. They weren't really fighting in the wars, they weren't really getting involved, they weren't very prominent, but they did exist. Now, does this mean Amazon are going to try and force some orc love story down our throat? My god, I really hope not. But hopefully at this point, it's just an idea for them to be a bit more creative with their designs. Maybe we see a bit more inside orc camps, which of course it means there will be female orcs there. I just really hope Amazon are not going to go for that, oh, let's do a beautiful love story between orcs and show that they're not all evil. Because remember, orcs are evil. There's no redemption story in them really. They are just creatures made by evil lords for evil purposes with no real chance of redemption. They could be scared and they can run away, but they won't be good. That is not in their blood. So please, please, please do not force something like that down our throats. Now obviously we haven't seen anything that necessarily suggests it, but a large quote talking about female orcs does kind of worry me a little bit with a lot of what we've seen so far. But again, we will just have to wait and see. Like I said, I'm hoping this is just in a way that they can show something a bit more creative with their designs, not in a way that's story driven with this. But then as we continue down the article, we do see a little bit more about them talking about how these orcs look different. Again, like I kind of said before about the baby versions, although obviously not babyish, that they are a lot less world hardened. Basically, don't expect to see exactly the same muscly, bulked up, battle worn as you've seen in previous productions. They then go to talk a bit more about the prosthetics in it all. And this is one part that I am actually really in favour of, and I'm glad that they have said this. They really emphasise the fact that there is a marriage between CGI and practical, and how really, when anything is close up, when you see anything really in detail, they will be practical shots, not CGI. They explain how a lot of the work within the prosthetics industry has changed and developed so much since The Lord of the Rings started over 20 years ago, and these days you could do so much more than you could back then. They use the example of how they started to do things with Gimli with silicone, and that realistically by this point they have just gone leaps and bounds ahead of what they ever had before, meaning they can create some amazing looking orcs without having to take years and years to get it ready. For example, in the article, Weber says, "So all the ears, noses, orc pieces and all are made in encapsulated silicone, which is basically 2 layers of silicone with a movable piece of silicone in the middle. So when it's applied to the actor's face, they can move and it works. It also gets the same temperature as their skin, and you can see the translucency, and then you gently paint on top of it. A bit like doing makeup on a human rather than having to seal and heavily paint like we did in the old days. To me, this just makes everything sound like it should look a bit more real, and also give the actors more chance to put a performance in, and you'll be able to see that under the prosthetics, which I feel can make a big difference than relying on CGI to get really emotive creatures. Now yes, like they say, a lot of touch-ups will be done with CGI, but that is completely expected and normal in any film production, not just with this one, so that's no shock really. But again, they go on to just emphasize that they are really pushing the practical side, with only putting the visual effects in when much needed, or things just need to be slightly altered later. When they are close up to the camera, orcs are really practical and almost exclusively. So basically they understand that people can see CGI more and more these days. Our eyes are getting trained to it. They understand that if they rely too heavily on it, people are going to notice. However, the one thing you do have to question is, if they know this, why do they appear to have relied quite heavily on CGI in earlier trailers and clips released so far? I mean, there are a few things that do look a bit high fantasy when maybe they shouldn't as much, or maybe because people were expecting something different, they're noticing more and more. I don't really know, but the words from the guys this time is they want to do as much as possible practically. And that was going to be one of my fears. I was worried that everything was going to be so CGI reliant that really it was just going to feel like a computer game at times. Now, everything hopefully being more practical kind of comforts that feeling a bit, but still, until we see all these orcs in actual live action footage in, a second trailer, come on Amazon, it's about time, then it's also hard to know. They say that there's a lot riding on the Rings of Power, and my god are they true. They could make or break Tolkien projects for the next 50 years even. If this goes well, we could get so much more, so much greatness, and everything that we want. However, if they mess things up, if they really do try and, say for this example, introduce female orcs with it in the purpose of love stories, then you're just going to cause more issues and alienate the fanbase even more. And this is what Amazon really need to look at. They've really messed up their marketing campaign. They assumed that all the Tolkien fans would be on board no matter what, and they're really not. You didn't show us the right things a lot of the time. I personally tried to hold my worries back as much as I can. We have only seen a trailer, but the longer it goes on without them showing us anything to really comfort that, it makes me more and more worried. I am generally a pretty laid back person with this kind of thing. I do like to watch the show before I make a real judgment on it. I won't cancel it before it even starts, on the odd chance, and they've kind of proven this, that they don't really know how to market it, so maybe when it comes out we'll get something that nobody even expected from what we've seen. That's really my biggest hope. They thought all us Tolkien fans were just gonna walk alongside and watch it with avid eyes no matter what they did, and they tried to bring in people from the outside. This backfired badly because it alienated both lots of people. So now they're trying to play catch up. They're trying to appease the Tolkien fandom, and they're also trying to keep everyone else on side as well. The people who don't know Tolkien just know about all the backlash that they received, and the people that do know it understand that they're changing things that perhaps they should not touch. I'm sure there'll be many more articles like this to come. Whether those are going to be positive things, negative things, we don't really know. Like I said, please Amazon, just give us another trailer, put our minds at ease, and hopefully try and get some people back on side. I mean, my God, I want this show to be good. Every part of me wants this show to be amazing. But do I think it really will be? I'm teetering on this fence so much at this point. One day I'll wake up and I'll sway towards they're gonna destroy everything that's been put before it. Or another day I'll wake up and think, no, wait, they might do a decent job. There are positives in things they put out. They just don't seem to understand what they're doing with it. But anyway, I feel like I'm starting to completely ramble at this point, so I will start to round this up. This video is one of these, is completely off the cuff, on the fly, just reacting to this article as it comes out. As I've been showing throughout the video, we've got a few new awesome pictures of these orcs. I really do like the designs on how they look. I think if they go for this practical design and really push it, like they say they have, then we're going to have some amazing visuals to see, and it might bring a few more people on board. But at the end of the day, the story is what's most important. If they mess with the characters too much, if they mess with the world too much, people will be unforgiving. And Amazon, you need to understand that. Just having some beautiful scenic shots and some good looking people in the show, that's not gonna save you. Make sure the story works. Make sure the story respects. That's all we ask. But okay, yes, like I said, I really need to round this up because I am rambling on and I want to get this video out for you all. But please, let me know what you're all thinking. Do you like the way that these orcs look? Do you think that they could be done better? Where do you think they rate compared to the Peter Jackson versions? Of course, these are promotional images, so they are bound to have picked the best of the bunch, but you can tend to get a pretty good idea. So yes, let me know what you think. I hope you are all having a brilliant time. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time on The Broken Sword.